Hey you guys, I am back with the heritage project. So it was a while ago now, but now it's time to get on working with that again, I think. So earlier I've been working with the herdman from Gripping Beasts miniatures, so like the plastic herdman Viking set. So these are also from that set, but there are going to be other warriors for the Vikings, what you say, so for the game Saga. So these are the Hearthguard that I am making. I think they are called Hearthguard at least, so in the game. So I have done some green stuff on them and so on, so I have tried to make them look more elite-like, because like these are pretty much the bodyguard of the leader of the Jarl or so. So let's have a look what I have done. So I have used like more decorative helmets on them that I didn't use for the other herdmen or so, and most of them are armed with swords, because yeah, swords are kind of a status symbol. It's quite much harder and more expensive to get a sword in that age, and you have a axe strapped to his belt. You've seen I've done much green stuff on places, because like in places there were missing chainmail and so on, and I have extended their chainmail too, so they have a longer chainmail than the normal guys. So wanted them to be more heavily armed. The shields are a little bit damaged and battered. There we have sword scabbard and a cloak. So I give two guys a cloak there. So I have had to working with this on different green stuff stages for some days now. Here we have another guy with a visor actually on his face, and a little bit of a damaged shield, and as you can see I made the chainmail longer. You have an axe ready to strike, and the sword, his waist. There you can see the extended chainmail that I made, and that I have patched up and fixed, because there is quite much of that. Knife in the bag. I really like these models, although there's quite some work on them, and on the bases I had to do green stuff too to make it more whatever. Here we have another guy. He have the same helmet, but a different pose a little bit, and he's holding a sword. Damaged shield. He's readying to attack or so. A pouch and a little knife there. Extended chainmail. Yeah, and a shorter cloak. Let's try to make it look a little bit more static. I think it's quite hard to do some stuff in green stuff, so like this to make like a kind of nice cloak. I think it's quite hard still to like make the fabric look more alive or so. Here we have the last guy holding a sword over his shoulder, and I made a chainmail from his helmet too. I've seen Viking helmets with that kind of a design that have chainmail from the helmet, so it looks really badass. And extended chainmail, of course. There's the sword scabbard. He also have an axe there. So these guys are quite heavily armed, and yeah, I like how the green stuff turned out. So it looked quite much better when I held it here than when I held me the models or so. But anywho, these are the Hearthguard for my Saga Vikings. And I hope you liked it. I'm gonna show you some ranks and status for the Vikings. Like, I have been reading quite a lot about Vikings lately, and I made a list of pretty much of historical rankings of a herd or so, a warrior band. So I thought we could have a little bit look of that. So here we have a list that I made, so I'm gonna do some short explanations. This is for a herd, then a herd, a warrior band. They were like at least around 25 to 40 men per ships, and usually it was like pretty much 2 ships that were going, or like I think the smallest amount was 1 ship, I guess. But and the leader was Drotten, as he was called, the leader of the band, who pretty much called this together and everything like that, who probably owned the ships and stuff like that too. Under him was Stallaren, which was pretty much the general and counselor, like his closest man or so, which helped him. And then it was the Märkesman, which was the bannerman. That was a really important task, to hold his leader's banner, the Drotten, on the battlefield, to be with him and hold it up. Because the banner seems to have for their magical abilities and stuff like that, and it was a honorable thing to be the bannerman and Märkesman. Yeah. Then we had the closest soldiers, pretty much, that was like warriors, except those two was Theng, Drängmadr, and Huskarl, which was the closest elite soldiers that fought for him, for Drotten, the leader, which he supported them with household and stuff like that, food and stuff. So and with them was some lendmen, which was pretty much non-bound warriors, barons in some cases you could call them, which had pretty much like come to a stage that they have gotten themselves a family, and pretty much like, I have bought myself out from this and so on, and he could come and fight whenever he want to, pretty much. Then we have guests, gäster, but I wrote guests anyway, which was pretty much guardsmen, executioners and so on, that did stuff around that was close to Drotten and so on. And pretty much the last thing in the herd pretty much was Fackelbärarna, torchbearers, which was like proving young men, servicemen that wanted to become herdmen and so on, or like housecarls and so on, because they were the closest soldiers pretty much. So they wanted to prove themselves. They were pretty much servicemen doing stuff, working for the leader Drotten and so on. And outside this is pretty much like herdmen and so on, was pretty much same men from the same village pretty much, that worked together and so on. And outside of that was the lead, which was warriors pretty much from other villages that had, if they like extended their herd and so on, so it became bigger, they needed more men and so on. So it's quite interesting. Then there of course there were herds that was of several hundreds of men and so on, pretty much maybe over thousands and so on too. So like the bigger warrior bands later was called the Lidungen, which could like be of several thousands of men and so on, you know, which is quite interesting. So this is pretty much a warrior band, and the ranking in village pretty much. It's really interesting. So I hope you found that interesting, guys, and this will be quite fun, I think, to get on with this again. So join up if you want to. See if some guys would get onto it. SgtTristan too. So thank you for me, guys, and have a good one.